India is in the middle of a massive economic transformation. We're talking about incredible growth. But behind all those big headlines, a critical risk is building. And it's one that could put that whole boom in jeopardy. Let's break it down.
So the big picture here is genuinely impressive. India isn't just growing, it's on a path to fly past economic giants like Germany and Japan, becoming the world's third largest economy by the end of this decade. I mean, this isn't just a local story. It's a fundamental shift in the global economic order.
But, and this is the big but of our story, this super fast expansion comes with a crucial question. As all this wealth and all these assets are being built up, are they being built on solid ground? Because this boom isn't just creating opportunity, it's also creating a hidden and potentially catastrophic danger.
Okay, so first, let's put some hard numbers on this to really get a feel for the scale of what's happening.
The number you really need to know is this: 6.2%. That's the forecast for average annual GDP growth for the next 10 years. Just to put that into perspective for you, that makes India the fastest growing major economy in the G20, and not just by a little bit, but by a really significant margin.
So where's all this momentum coming from? Well, it's not just one thing, that's for sure. A huge piece of the puzzle is strong domestic consumption that makes up nearly 2/3 of the entire economy. We're also seeing a massive rebound in rural areas, a big surge in private investment, and a super resilient services sector, all kind of helped along by government reforms. It's really a multi-engine growth story.
Now, when you have all this economic activity, all this new wealth, these new businesses, and new assets being created, it directly fuels another industry: insurance.
And what's really fascinating about this is how it almost perfectly mirrors that GDP story. Just look at that growth rate for insurance premiums in India, 7.3%. That's blowing past other emerging markets and the global average. It's simple, really. More wealth means more stuff to protect, and the insurance market is just exploding as a result.
And if you dig into that booming market, one thing becomes super clear. One segment is absolutely king. Life insurance? Well, it accounts for nearly 3/4 of all the premiums in India. It's the bedrock of the entire sector.
So to really get a handle on the risk we're going to talk about, it helps to do a quick 101 on the basic idea behind this whole industry.
At its very core, insurance is all about this idea of pooling of risk. And it's a really simple but powerful concept. Think of it like this. A huge group of people all contribute a small amount of money, their premiums, into one giant pot. Then, that big pot of money is used to help out the few people in the group who suffer a major loss, like a death or a serious illness. It's basically a system of shared financial security.
And this industry in India, it's had a pretty interesting journey. After it opened up to private companies back in the 2000s, it went through this huge boom led by these investment-linked products. Then, after some regulatory tightening, things cooled off. But now, we're in what you could call phase 3, a big comeback, driven by a shift towards pure protection products. And that's usually the sign of a more mature, developed market.
Okay, so we've got a booming economy creating all these valuable assets, and we have a growing insurance industry ready to protect them. So far, so good, right? Well, this is where the two stories collide, and it reveals that hidden danger we talked about at the start: risk hotspots.
To get this, you have to ask a really simple question. As India is building all these economic powerhouses, where are they actually building them? Where is all this new wealth getting concentrated?
This map tells the story pretty clearly. The darker the shade, the more industrial production is happening there. And you can see right away that India's economic engines, its factories, its airports, its seaports, they're not spread out evenly at all. They're heavily concentrated in just a few specific coastal and northern regions.
All right, now here's the problem, and this visual really gets to the core of the issue. We're going to overlay natural hazard data. The blue you see shows areas that are vulnerable to floods and storm surges. Notice anything? The areas with the highest concentration of valuable stuff are often the exact same areas with the highest risk of a natural disaster.
And that dangerous overlap, that collision of high-value assets and high environmental risk is what creates these risk hotspots. The report really pinpoints them in key economic zones like parts of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and the Delhi region.
And look, this isn't just some abstract, theoretical problem on a map. Let's look at what actually happens when this risk becomes a reality. We're going to examine 2 devastating floods that happened in these exact hotspots.
And the scale of this is just staggering. In 2023 alone, natural disasters caused $12 billion in economic losses in India. That is way above the 10-year average. So the financial hit isn't just real, it's actually getting worse.
To see what this looks like on the ground, let's get really specific. Take the Mumbai floods in 2005 and the Chennai floods in 2015. Both cities are major economic hubs located smack in the middle of these risk hotspots. The economic damage was just mind-blowing. Over $5 billion in Mumbai, over $6 billion in Chennai. Airports were shut down, and literally tens of thousands of homes and businesses were devastated. This is what happens when a risk hotspot becomes a real-world disaster.
So this all boils down to one central challenge that India is facing today. It's a classic battle: growth versus resilience. The big question is, how can the country protect the very economic future it is working so incredibly hard to build? The problem is, you've got a few things happening all at once. For one, development has just moved way faster than the actions needed to make it safe. You've got unplanned urban sprawl that's destroyed natural drainage, which just makes floods worse. Then you throw in climate change, which is making these events happen more often. And here's the killer financial point. Over 90% of these massive losses are currently uninsured. That means the financial shock hits families, businesses, and the government directly.
So what's the playbook here? How can the insurance industry help build this resilience? Well, it's basically a three-step strategy. First, you have to identify the hotspots with pinpoint accuracy using modern data. Second, you assess the true financial risk with the best models out there. And finally, you design smart insurance programs to close that massive 90% protection gap.
Which leaves us with this one final question. India's economic rise seems pretty much undeniable, but the real test won't just be how fast it can grow, but how smart it can grow. As India builds its future, can it build the resilience it needs to protect it? The answer to that is going to define the next chapter of this incredible story.